Good afternoon. We are College of the Ozarks. We're so grateful to MTNA for hosting us and letting us present. Today we'll be presenting over Ragtime, and our presentation is titled Stride Through Time with Ragtime. Ragtime history. Jo-Elle will tell you a little bit about Ragtime history.
So the beginning of Ragtime was around the 1890s, and it went into the 1917 or 1920s. The definition of ragtime is a musical composition in piano and generally durable meter and containing a highly syncopated treble lead over a rhythmically steady bass, consisting of a number of repetitive sections around 16 measures each. The origin of ragtime was around the central United States around Missouri and St. Louis and the Mississippi River. Erupting from the newfound freedom of the African American community, ragtime was inspired by the syncopated style of the American minstrel folk songs. Ragtime spread through the United States and was heard in the 1893 Chicago World Fair. It became widely popular, leading to its publication in a new piano style in 1895.
So fast forwarding to the publication of Ragtime. So before Scott Joplin, Ragtime was mostly improvised. In 1895, Ernest Hogan published La Passe Mala, which Ernest Hogan was very famous for numerous choral works as well as piano ragtime works. First to put it onto paper was the kind of rhythm that was being played by non-reading musicians, which is a quote by Tom Fletcher. In 1899, Scott Joplin published The Maple Leaf Rag, which was a defining piece for all of ragtime and the history of music. So ragtime obviously spread through Europe. It was a very popular genre. It was able to spread through Europe through the 1900 Paris exhibition. Through the Paris exhibition, other countries were exposed to American tradition of ragtime, our defining footprint. The popularity of ragtime spread through Europe and influenced composers such as Debussy, Satie, and Hindemith. And Esther is going to explain to us a few ragtime composers for you.
So I'll be talking about the pioneers of ragtime. The three big pioneers of ragtime would be Scott Joplin, Joseph Lamb, and James Scott. Scott Joplin was named the King of Ragtime. During his career, he wrote over 100 ragtime pieces. One of his first and most popular pieces, The Maple Leaf Rag, was published in 1899, this piece being his most influential ragtime piece. The Maple Leaf Rag served as a model for the hundreds of rags to come, especially in the development of classical ragtime. Joseph Lamb was the only non-African American composer of the big three ragtime composers. Lamb's sense of musical structure was derived from his study of Joplin's piano rags, yet his use of long phrases was influenced by classical walks. By the 1950s, Lamb had mastered the classical rag genre in a way that no other composer was able to approach. James Scott considered Joplin to be his idol. He set out in 1905 in search of him, and when he found him, asked if he could listen to one of his compositions. Joplin then introduced him to his producer, and Scott published his first piece, Frog-Legged Rag, which became the second bestseller only to Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag. In 1914, Scott started playing the organ for silent films at the Panama Theater in Kansas City, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Landon. I'm going to talk to you about more composers. So the first three I'm going to talk about is composers who implemented ragtime into their music. The first is Percy Grainger from Australia. He was folk and show tune composer. He implemented ragtime style in his piece In Dahomey, Cakewalk Smasher. The next composer is Nathaniel Dett, who's from Canada. He was a classical and spiritual composer. His earliest known compositions are in the ragtime style. Some pieces include Juba and After the Cakewalk. Now from France, there's Claude Debussy. He's an impressionist composer, but he also implemented jazz chords and ragtime rhythms in some of his compositions. One of his compositions is Gollywog's Cakewalk. So here are a couple composers who implemented new techniques into ragtime, stride, and novelty. There's James P. Johnson, who's from America, and he's considered the father of stride. He grew up studying classical and ragtime music. One of his pieces is the Carolina Shout, which some consider to be jazz. Ezer Zez Confrey from America, he explored novelty piano. He liked ragtime with extra wrong notes, humorous harmonic effects, and faster rhythms. One of his pieces is Kitten on the Keys, one of the first novelty pieces to hit the spotlight. So the ragtime revival is some more modern composers, some of whom are still alive today. And those include William Bolcom, who was born in 1938 and is an American pianist and composer. Bolcom's rag is unique because he infuses classical style in his compositions. Another is Trebor Tichenor. Trebor was best known for collecting and publishing others' ragtime piano compositions. Tichenor was also was known to have composed some of his own compositions. David Thomas Roberts, born in 1955, Roberts is an American composer, and he made a name for himself as a ragtime composer when he released his suite, New Orleans Streets.
So next we will be talking about pieces in ragtime. So some common similarities are the left hand gives the strong, steady jumping beat. Also, the right hand gives the syncopated melody. It is often in duple meter, and there are different themes to it. You can see through the pictures that the first picture on top is Claude Debussy's Gollywog's Cakewalk, and the bottom picture is The Entertainer, and you can see these similarities. So here's The Entertainer. And then here is Debussy's Gollywog's Cakewalk.
So some really great similarities between those two works. Moving on, I will discuss Nathaniel Dett's Juba for you. So Juba is actually like a dance style. It's a rhythm pattern in the left hand, which is present throughout the majority of this work. It's kind of depicted by a boom, chop, chop, boom, chop, chop in like a 2/4 meter. It's very unique rhythm in the left hand up to this point for the accompaniment. And that little boom, chop, chop, boom, chop, boom, chop, chop, boom, chop, boom, chop, chop is present in the first strain, especially of the Juba. So first strain is like a section of the music. We can see that in the first system and the like first 4 bars, but it's a constant motif throughout the whole work. The Juba is similar to the rondo form in the A-B-A-C-A-D style. And so we can see ragtime in this piece.